Hi, my name is Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Today I'm going to tell you how to reduce flight risk on international travel. How do you reduce flight risk on international travel? First of all, what does flight risk even mean? That means not making it. Now, it's not to say that your airplane is going to fall out of the sky and horrifically explode and kill everybody on board. I'm not talking about that kind of flight risk because really you don't have any control over that. What I'm doing is talking about how are you going to get to your international destination in a timely fashion and make your tours, your connection, your cruise, or whatever. Because when you go traveling internationally, it's way more stressful. You got to remember your passport. You got to remember to make reservations. Do I speak the language? What's the money going to look like? Ooh, did I bring a power adapter? Did you bring a power adapter to where you're traveling? Heh, that's something to consider. But you got to get there in the first place. So if I'm going to London and I'm going to catch the Austria, geez. I'm going to Austria and Vienna and I want to catch this opera. And I got to catch this flight and it connects up to Los Angeles and then it goes over to Atlanta and then to Frankfurt and then on to Vienna. And that'll work perfectly. Put the brakes on. Are you 100% sure your 1, 2, 3, 4 connections are all going to work perfectly? Nothing's going to go wrong. There's no weather delay. The crew is there. No traffic happens. No flight delays happened before. No. The more flights you take, getting to a particular location increases the probability, not exponentially, but substantially, in having a problem. Now, I've flown all around the planet. I've flown for expeditions, and the number one trick I use to reduce my flight risk is simply take fewer flights. Duh! What? That's profound? Yes. Because, hang on, don't hit that stop button yet. Don't hit the stop button. And I'll tell you why. Because when you are traveling from destination to destination to destination, if everything is going fine, usually you'll make your connections. But chances are you chose a flight to an international destination or even in the country far away because it was cheap. And hey, if I do 2, 3, or I don't think I've ever seen 4 connections, but if I do 2 or 3 or maybe let's say 4 because I got to get to a small place, 4 connections, it'll save me a lot of money. You are increasing your risk because you are saving money. There's a direct correlation of risk versus money spent on connections of flight. Just case in point, I was flying to, where was I flying to? I had to fly to Paris so I can get to this small city named Poitiers to do work for a French defense company. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I got to connect through to Chicago and then get there. And then that's only a single connection, which is really good. But I had to be there like in 18, 20 hours because the customer was right on the edge of, we're canceling this contract, we're out, your product is having a problem when we quit. And of course we're all like, whoa, no, we don't want to do that because like our paychecks are dependent on this customer. Whoa. So I get on this flight and yeah, the plane is powering up and the air conditioning is making this sound. And it's like, ooh, that doesn't sound very good. So somebody starts hitting the call attendant button. Bing, 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 bing. And the call attendant's like, oh, sir, we're taxiing, but bing, bing. Like, this is important. So the attendant comes up. So here's this rattling. Ooh, that's not good. Runs back, gets on the phone. And then the captain comes on the microphone. Hi everybody, it sounds like we're having a minor issue with the air system in the aircraft. Let us pause for a moment and we'll see if we can fix this. And we sit on the runway. You don't have a clue what they're doing up in the cockpit. I don't know. Maybe just having a coffee and checking off list. I don't know what pilots do to make that work. But all of a sudden, the sound cut. I'm like, oh, perfect. Yes. And everybody sighs a sigh of relief because they've got connections too. We begin rolling out. And just as we're about to make the turn in San Diego to get on to the runway, all of a sudden the AC systems are or whatever. I'm not really good at sound effects, but here, wait a minute. It sounded like this. Didn't sound positive. So all of a sudden, whoever hit the flight attendant button, bing, 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 another one, bing, 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 and the flight attendant comes up, and then she hears, and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. She runs back, calls the captain, hey, captain, the air system definitely making a noise. This does not sound positive. And because I was back there and you could kind of hear her, and the captain immediately comes on the line to the whole plane on the PA. Sorry, folks, it sounds like we've got an internal issue with the aircraft. We're going to need to turn around and figure out what's going on. And everybody on the plane, oh. And I said out loud, folks, just remember, it is way more important and valuable and less stressful to be on the ground wishing you were in the sky rather than being in the sky praying you were on the ground in one piece. And a couple people chuckled like, ooh, good point. So that plane, it was toast. Initially they said, oh, we just need everybody off. Leave your bags on. We'll see if we can fix it. People start getting off the plane. Tons of people piled out. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know about this. So I grab my bag and I start walking. Sir, you don't need to take your bag. It's okay. I like the workout. Sure enough, you get halfway off the plane. Most of the people are deplane. But folks, you're probably going to need to take your baggage because the plane's pressurization system, And all of a sudden, these people come piling back to get their baggage. And, whoa, we get off the plane. This doesn't look good. I'm like, gosh, dang, I need another flight. I get on the phone with Delta. Hey, your plane has a mechanic. This whole story. But I was able to catch another flight with another connection to hop through. I was able to make it. We saved the contract. It all worked. But man, if I could have had a singular flight to get to Europe, I would have been better off. Why? Because as soon as I had to make a connection, my plane was delayed and the connection was kind of tight in Chicago. And that connection window started going. Now let me tell you, connecting to a flight in Chicago from the US terminals to the international terminal is like this crazy circus, because to get to the international terminal in O'Hare, if you're not in the right place, you got to go into this tunnel, and it was nuts. I felt like Running Man going through this crazy tunnel, go, go. And I was able to make my flight, but almost barely. That was super unpleasant. So to reduce risk in international travel in your flights, the number one thing you want to try to do is get it down to one flight. Now, sometimes that's simply not possible. I was flying to Tanzania to do an expedition on Kilimanjaro, and there are no Moshi direct flights or through Dar es Salaam. Wasn't possible. Had to fly through Amsterdam and then down to Africa. And sure enough, the plane had a problem from, I think it was San Francisco to, to San Francisco to Amsterdam. There was like, the plane was toast. And I had already made a connection from Jackson Hole to San Francisco through Salt Lake. And I'm like, man, this is not good. And the gate attendant said, well, we can put you on another flight tomorrow, and then we'll get you all connected through. And I thought, wait a minute. If plane has problem, what is the probability that plane has a problem tomorrow? Not zero. That's right. So I said, you know what? Is there another flight that can get me to Amsterdam? And I know I won't make my connection, but you'll get me through. Because I had planned to arrive a full day in advance for my expedition. And she looks and, yeah, actually, we can connect you in 4 hours to Amsterdam. And then the next day, because you'll miss your flight, we'll get you down to Moshi to make your climb. Perfect. I was trying to reduce my connections and there was just no way possible because of how I was flying. But if I could have somehow reduced my connections, I would have reduced my probability of problems. When I go on expeditions in Alaska, Jackson to Salt Lake to Seattle to Anchorage, then there's like a 35-minute window where I literally get off the plane, walk to another plane. I don't even have time to use the toilet, and I got to get on the other plane, and it's that tight. Just think if the slightest delay occurs, toast. I miss my connection, and now I'm delayed for hours, if not a day. Who knows? So the number one trick in reducing risk of connection failure for international travel is simply reduce the number of connections. When I flew to Russia, I had an option to go to New York, to Europe, or whatever and connect through. No, no, no. I decided to get down to Los Angeles in a single hop, because you can't fly from Jackson to Moscow, but go to Los Angeles, which is farther away. I know, rather than going to New York, Chicago, or it was New York, I think was the connector, and then directly over, because one, I hate going through JFK. That place is miserable. No offense to the people working there, but ugh. So instead, I decided to go to LA, which increases my flight time, but it was a single hop on Aeroflot, the Russian airlines, which was cool. And from LA directly to Moscow in like 11 hours. It really wasn't that long. And the plane took off in time. I had no problems versus taking a risk of going through JFK or somewhere else where I have got a connection. Now there's a problem. Who knows? And I missed the start of my expedition, and it was really hard to get a hold of these people to connect myself, to get me picked up, to go through Moscow to Mineral Vody, to do all this. Do you get my point? I know that direct flight might be a touch more expensive, sometimes 10-15% more expensive, but if you're making a connection to a cruise, to a trip or something, you either leave a day earlier, save your safety, or make fewer connections. I've seen people in San Diego, my flight is late, and where's my baggage, and my cruise leaves in an hour, and this is all your fault. Well, the airline's going to do its best. I mean, those people work hard, they bust their booties, but your cruise ship really doesn't care. Don't show up with tight connections. Just don't do it. Make a single connection or zero connections if at all possible, and I guarantee you will have fewer problems and less flight risk on international travel, because I know I've been there. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Please like and comment on my video. Subscribe on the channel below. Hit that subscribe button. Please support me on PayPal, Venmo, and Patreon. Thank you very much for watching.